So Britishness, if you're going to define it culturally as a way of thinking and behaving and a sort of cultural mediocrity out there in society, is that Britishness is a little bit pessimistic, a bit negative. We like to have a bit of a moan and groan. I'm not putting the boot in because I'm part of that as well. What I'm suggesting is that culturally, a lot of people are spending too much of their time in the bottom third, and in fact, if I say it in a different way, most people are a million miles away from feeling as great as they could. Right? So, towards the upper reaches of how fab they can feel. They've got a bit of a spring in their step, they've got more energy, more positivity, more pizzazz, more whatever you want to call it, it's more an aliveness. Okay? Now they're the people that we've never really looked at. They're the people that are central to my study. I've been doing Britain's first ever study on the 2%ers, asking 3 basic questions. Right? First of all, well, who are they? That intrigues me. Who are these happy people? Yeah? Secondly, what do they do that allows them to live at that positive, upbeat end of the spectrum? And thirdly, and I suppose most importantly, as far as we're concerned today, is what can we learn from the 2%ers that we can put into practice so the upward arrow is ours for the taking? And folks, and without any psychobabble or nonsense, the difference between you at the bottom of the arrow and the top of the arrow is life-changing. Okay? That's what I said at the conference where Kim was a couple of years ago, and it's true. The difference between you and that sort of this curse of mediocrity down here and that 2% is a game changer. If you do the 2% behaviours for a single day, you'll notice a massive difference in how you feel and how people around you respond in a more positive way. Right? You'll have a really uplifting day here. But if you were to commit to changing your habits so that the 2% became your default way of going about the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, whatever you've got left, you pitch in at there just so it becomes normal, then it is a game changer. And back to the point, I can't think of anything more important you'll ever do. Particularly teachers, actually, as we'll see in a minute. Touch everybody in the room. Okay, now, who already is a 2%er? How many, because I do get the feeling, if you're volunteering for this course, you probably already are. Who feels great most of the time is a basic question. So 3 off sort of from work and 3 outside of work, and all I want you to do is have a chat about how would the extraordinarily, brilliantly positive version of you deal with a colleague needing your help when you're busy. Yeah, so you're already rushed off your feet, now somebody else wants a piece of your time, you haven't really got any time, but you're a 2%er, so how are you going to deal with it? Somebody in your team does something good, credit crunch, times are tough, everybody's feeling a bit uncertain. How are you, as a 2%er, going to manage the credit crunch and the situation out there? Yeah, what are you going to do differently as a 2%er? And then outside of work, let's put you in a 20-minute queue at Tesco as a 2%er. What are you going to do for 20 minutes? Your group of parents are coming to stay for a week, okay? And the ultimate test is that last one. We've all been there. We've all been there, right? You're camping and it's absolutely lashing down, but you are an extraordinary human being because you're at the 2%. So what are you going to do at camping in the rain? So folks, I'm going to give you about 6 or 7 minutes. That's all. Quick 1 minute chat per situation. Share it back with me in 7 minutes, and away we go. We'll take you to lunch. Time's yours. Enjoy. All right. I am a reformed mood hoover. Now, mood hoovers are people. They're not horrible. They're just stuck in a default can't-do mentality. Alright, so mood hoovers, lots of tutting and rolling of eyes, and lots of low energy. You can bounce into work on a day like this. Oh, morning everybody, what a lovely day. Yeah, but have you seen the forecast? Thanks for that. Or you can sit in a meeting buzzing with ideas because you're a 2%er, and the mood hoover sits in the meeting going, yeah, but that'll never work, you see. We've always done it this way. Now, mood hoovers are expert, I call them mood hoovers because they're expert at sucking all the positivity out of you, leaving you feeling crap as well. It takes about 30 seconds and they've got you. Yeah? Felt great a minute ago, what have you done? You spoke to me. Okay? Now, I don't want to make this personal, but who knows a mood, who's got a mood hoover? I don't want you to name them, I want you to keep it anonymous. But you might be sat next to one, so be careful. You always know if you're sat next to a mood hoover, because at break time they'll go, well, he's crap, isn't he? All he waste of time today is. Who's got a mood hoover? We've met before, haven't we? Tell me about what habits, what makes you feel. This is a model of how you operate as a human being. So we spent this morning looking at choosing to be positive. Alright? Which is kind of like, duh, you knew that anyway. But if you're anything like me to age 37, you're not doing it often enough. We're not consciously choosing to be positive. We let the world dictate how we feel. And what I'm saying is you've got a chance of when you're standing in the queue at Tesco, you can stand in the queue positively or negatively. It's up to you. And so you can't control the queue, but you can control how you stand there. Okay? Now, the second point is kind of linked in with that, but this is a model of how you operate as a human being. If you ever study something called CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, this is as simple as I can make how you operate as a person. This is your instruction manual. Trigger, feeling, behaviour and outcome. So a trigger is anything out there in the big wide world that makes you feel in a certain way. Your feelings drive your behaviour drives what happens to you, which will call your outcome. Right, so my example from road rage earlier, the old version of me, somebody would come up in the traffic, that's the trigger, that would automatically make me feel angry. So I would chase them across town, that would be the behaviour, and the outcome, well, murder, potentially. A few close ones, to be honest. Or the weather, classic British trigger, it's a bit grim, or it's rainy or drizzly, so we tend to feel a bit low because it's raining again, or it's grey, and the behaviour is a bit low energy, and the outcome is we all have an average day because it's grey outside. Yeah? There's a million things triggering how you feel every day. A million triggering how you feel every day. What I want you to understand is that in that model there is that you are a trigger. And you are a trigger, which means that when you walk into a room, whether you like it or not, it's a fact that you cannot not have an impact. Right? You are impacting emotionally on everybody you ever meet in your life ever. You are having an impact on them at an emotional level. Now the 2%ers know that. They kind of understand, well, I'm going to have an impact anyway in this meeting. I'm going to have an impact when I get home today. When I get home and see my kids, I'm going to impact emotionally on them. So therefore, I'd rather be that be positive. Essentially, what I'm suggesting is you need to wake up to this. The impact you are having on your fellow human beings is profound. It is nothing short of profound. The people closest to you are forming part of their world. You are shaping their feelings and their belief systems. It is massive. Okay? And I want everybody in the room to understand that. Well, so once you understand that, well, I can have an impact. Do you know what? Blimey, I better up the game. That's really what we're talking about there. Now, how do you do that? Well, this is the smallest thing that I've changed that's had the biggest impact on my life. Right? We call it the 4-minute rule. And the 4-minute rule suggests, if you just go back a slide, the 4-minute rule suggests the first 4 minutes of any interaction are the most important. So, if for 4 minutes you can be really upbeat and positive, just for 4 minutes, then the feelings and the people around you will be really upbeat, the behaviours will be like, wow, and the outcome will be to die for. But you've got to nail the first 4 minutes of any interaction. That means the first 4 minutes of going home this evening is bouncing in at home, being the best parent you can be. Or the first 4 minutes of the meeting, or the first 4 minutes of going to work tomorrow morning, is making sure you absolutely nail those first 4 minutes in terms of positivity. And if you can do that, the whole morning or the whole evening will go brilliantly, because the outcome will be great because you created it. Yeah? I will give you 2 examples. I'll give you an example from home and then an example from work. Right, the old version of me, first of all, a bit of a mood hoover, sadly, reflecting back now. And my kids were much smaller in those days. I used to work away a lot, and so I've been away in Glasgow all week, and the kids have been allowed to stay up on Friday night because Dad's over. They're quite excited because I'm home. They're little people at the time. And I was a bit of a mood hoover, and I'm not excited, I'm just knackered. I've been working really hard, and then I've got a 5.5 hour drive on Friday night, so I'm exhausted. I get home at 10:30, the kids have been allowed to stay up, right, because it's Friday night in Dad's home. So I walk through the door, and they run at you. They run at you, don't they? Dad, we haven't seen you all week. We've missed you. And they run at you. And I've got one on there. And the old version of me will come through the door, batting them off. And, for God's sake, let me through the door, you little monsters. They've got no idea about the commute I've had from Glasgow. Hey, round Stoke on a Friday night. You don't want to be there, I'll tell you that much. Blimey, nose to tail on the A50. Nightmare. Well, sadly, folks, but honestly, that would be my bog standard way of going home through the door. Now, if you put the 4-minute rule into practice, okay, well, that says I can't control the 5.5 hour drive. What I can do is have the capacity to have a thought before I go through the door. The thought would be, how would the best dad in the world go through that door? Yeah? Which is a really powerful question. And I already know, I don't need to come on a seminar to know that, but what I need to do is change my behaviour. How would the best dad in the world go through that door? Well, I already know these are the people I love most in the world. That's how I go through the door. So to cut a long story short, my kids don't jump on me, I jump on them. Yeah? Whoa, my little lovelies! Woo, that's going on in our house. It's absolutely fab. And of course the really perceptive ones will have twigged that you only have to do it for 4 minutes. This is the perfect parenting technique. Because after 4 minutes they'll be upbeat, and you can actually, if you wanted to experiment with this, you can sit miserably for the rest of the evening and nobody will notice. Because what you will have done is kick in here with the emotions, 4 minutes, brilliant, brilliant, outcome, world class.